So are you running from your challenges? Are you scared and hiding out in the corner? I'm here to tell you, girlfriend, that your business or life will never get easier if you run from them. And in this episode of La Dolce Vita, the formula for fabulous living, I'm going to share with you the formula on how you can win and overcome your challenges with my next guest. So stay tuned. Frankie Lee, dimmi, qual è senso della vita?
The meaning of life is to live la dolce vita, which is the formula for fabulous living.
Hi, my name is Heather Picken, and welcome to the La Dolce Vita Show, the formula for fabulous living. I'm the catalyst in helping you to be more confident, create your dream business, and attract elite clients and live a fabulous life. Here's Heather helping you to upgrade your life to
fabulous. Upgrade your life to fabulous. Right, Frankie? You're fabulous.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of La Dolce Vita, the formula for fabulous living. Yes, I like to pretend I'm a little bit Italian when I say that. And, you know, to me, it's all about having fun, because if you're not having fun, you're not living. And I like having fun in my business. Also, I like being serious as well. I think the two really go hand in hand. And today, I love talking about, you know, the formula for how to become successful in business and life. And if anyone knows my story, I have shared all my wisdom, my challenges from being disempowered in every area from money to men. And I've made it my mission for women and women entrepreneurs out there to own their power, own their greatness, and create something extraordinary in the world that is going to leave an immortal impact. That's what I'm all about. And I love sharing my message and my strategies. And today I have a very special guest, Wynn Charles, who's going to talk about how to overcome the challenges, because challenges are never ending, you know, in your business and in your life. And before I begin, if everyone could go to iTunes, if you're listening on iTunes, please rate, review, and subscribe, because that's how the message gets out. That's how people know about the show. And it's my mission and my message to get out there to millions of women, not only women entrepreneurs, but women in general, you know, realizing that there is a formula, because that's what it's all about. I could be doing this all day long. And if I know that I've reached people, and, you know, I just love the emails that you send in, it just means the world to me. And one more thing before we dive into today's topic, also head over to heatherpicken.com, because if you click on the blog, you'll find my show, La Dolce Vita, and you'll see us here on video. I just waved my hand. And if you go there, you want to click on the bell of the little video, because that means, I call it Pavlov's bell, because that signifies when the next episodes are released. And I don't want you to miss it out. I don't want you to miss out. It's really important. So without further ado, I'd love to welcome my guest, Wynn Charles, to the show. So Wynn, thank you so much for being my guest today.
Well, thank you, Heather, for having me on. I actually had the honor of interviewing you on my podcast, which we'll get to in a minute, last week. And so if you guys want to go check that out, there's a plug for my podcast, and also hit the subscribe button also in iTunes so that the podcast magically appear in iTunes.
I love it. Yeah, absolutely. It's all about getting the message out there. And in the show notes, you'll find the links. You'll get connected to Wynn and her work and her podcast show. And Wynn, I know we're talking about overcoming challenges, and you know, can you share a little bit about your work and what you do? Because I know you're a woman that has been faced with challenges.
Sure. My main challenge was given to me on June 22nd, 1987. My main challenge being CP, aka cerebral palsy. And cerebral palsy is a lack of oxygen at birth, childhood disease. No, it's not genetic. No, I can't pass it on to my kids if I choose to have kids. I just came out of the womb, got this traumatic birth injury, and I made it my life mission to educate people about cerebral palsy and educate people about solo entrepreneurship.
I love that. And I want to talk about the challenges because I think I mentioned this on your show. I grew up with a learning disorder, dyslexia, and I did feel challenged because it was really hard for me to read and write. And I felt stupid because I was taken out of the classroom, in front of my peers in an all glass room, and they knew I was getting special tutoring. And so, growing up, like you knew, you were born with this. How did you perceive yourself, and how do you feel the world perceived you having cerebral palsy?
I discovered that I had CP at the age of 6. I was very lucky to be what they call mainstreamed with able-bodied classmates. And still, as I go back to college to this day, I have no special ed classmates whatsoever. And I perceive myself as an able-bodied woman with a side note of cerebral palsy.
I love that because you know what? A lot of times people beat themselves up and thinking, I'm not good enough, I don't have everything, but you really saw yourself and you see yourself as, wait a minute, I am a woman on a mission. This is really, like a blessing to me. And a lot of times what happens, when we get stuck, when we get in our head, we start beating ourselves up or even comparing ourselves to other people. So along your journey, and I know we're going to get your podcast and talking about some of the challenges, what are some of the biggest challenges in your life and how have you been able to overcome that? Because there is a formula for being able to break through those.
Well, my big challenges are dealing with cerebral palsy on a day-to-day basis. And part of dealing with cerebral palsy on a day-to-day basis is when my muscles physically tighten up, aka they call it tone. And when my tone is really high, I can't function. Luckily for me, there are days where I can function. 9 times out of 10, I have good days considering I have moderate to severe cerebral palsy.
So you have your good days. So when you're having, let me ask you this. So, because I know, let's just say women are going through some challenges, whether it be physical or not in their business. What words of wisdom would you give them to really, break through that? Because, we can be very hard on ourselves.
Well, my words of wisdom are 1, ask for help. 2, don't sit there and wallow in your own misery for too long. 3, just do it. Just figure out a way to do it.
I love that. And it's so true. It's so simple, but yet we get in our own way. And I really want, the women that are listening, and maybe I have some fabulous men that are listening to this show too, is that, you've got to be a problem solver. To be an entrepreneur, to be the CEO of your business and a leader, you have to look at and ask yourself questions. How can I solve this? Because that is the way to really, grow yourself and grow your business. And when I'm working with high level CEOs and entrepreneurs, their mindset is so different than, let's just say, someone that's just starting out their business, they get overwhelmed and then they stop. So let's talk about the journey of you creating your podcast. I believe it's called Butterflies of Wisdom.
Yes,
some of the challenges, because I know a lot of people are listening that's saying, how do I even create a podcast? This is overwhelming. Like, where do I start? So what was your initial process of thinking to yourself, okay, I want to start this? And then what are some of the challenges that you had and how did you overcome that?
Well, at age 23, I wrote a book. So basically, 2 weeks after the book came out, not only did my friends, my family buy that book, but my fan base started to buy that book. Well, unbeknownst to me, people were reading that book and falling in love with it. And so then people started asking me, how do you do all this with disability, with chronic disease, cerebral palsy? And I thought, okay, if I get on this podcasting like one more time and explain I have cerebral palsy, people are going to tune me out, literally. And because they don't want to hear one more pity party for their podcast story. So I thought, why not bring lifelong learners on to my podcast? And that's how Winds Women of Wisdom started. And yes, the archives are still hanging out on iTunes, and the archives are still hanging out on YouTube, not iTunes. And so then I had a fan literally tell me, Win, I want to listen to your podcast, but I can't download the audio to listen to it while I'm multitasking. And I thought, oh boy, here we go. So then I tried live radio. Well, that was a disaster and a half using Blog Talk Radio. And then I found podcasting and I fell in love with it. Well, once you get the bug, you can't stop the bug. Meaning, as of today, as of April 24th, 2017, the day Heather and I are sitting there, I have launched another podcast, actually 2 podcasts. One is called The Fractional Minds, talking about mental disabilities, or fractional minds. And then the other one is called Wisdom of Fashion, which I do with the co-host, talking about up and coming designers and how they can help the disabled.
I love that. I love that. And this is just proof. I want everyone to get this. It doesn't matter what has happened to you in the past and, you know, where you're at right now. What matters is really being able to have a clear vision and being able to navigate around those challenges and learning through, you know, the so-called failure, however you want to perceive it, because, you know, there's really no such thing as failure. It's only a result, and it's a natural evolution in your business to go through the plateaus, to go through the challenges, to get to the next level, and not to be afraid of doing something and putting yourself out there. Like you said, when, you know, you did the live broadcast, you didn't like it. And I find that so many people, especially like women that I talk to all over the world, is they have a hard time putting themselves out there because they fear how other people might perceive them. So did you have anything going on in your head, like, what will people think of me if I did this? Or did you have just kind of like, you know, like you said, just do it?
Well, when I wrote the first book, when I had the idea of writing my autobiography at age 23, I actually was in a hospital room watching someone die, which that is a shocking experience in itself. And if you read I Come a Win, you'll find out exactly how I Come a Win came to be. And I was watching my mother die in a medically induced coma. And so I asked her, and this is how much we had a strong mother-daughter relationship. Now, granted, she was my aide up until the day she died. She helped me with daily activities such as getting dressed. But I asked her, I said, Mom, can I write I Come a Win in a way of grace and style? And she said, yes, and as long as you don't spill too many family secrets, I'm allowing you to write I Come a Win. And so then I gave myself a year, and I gave myself a year, and then I was given the opportunity to take a leadership workshop to not be better with a disability, but be a better leader. And so during that process, they made us do a vision board. And when I presented my vision board to 12 people, those 12 people, including my father, thought I was nuts when I said, I want to write a book and go back to school and do all this stuff based upon cerebral palsy. So when I gave myself a year, and when that leadership workshop came around again, I was able to tell people, look, my manuscript is in the final editing process, and jaws almost hit the floor.
Wow. That's incredible. And it just goes to show, if you have a clear vision, and I talk about this a lot, the clarity of one's vision is really the key to creating, what I call that La Dolce Vita life. And if you have a vision that also values other people and helping them in the world of transformation, and you have a value on yourself, then that's really going to create, wealth for yourself, so having those two things, other worth and self-worth, and being clear on your vision, so the clarity of your vision will also dictate how much money you're bringing into your bank account. I really find it interesting when people, like, they want to start a business or they're stuck in their business, but they don't have a clear vision. So with your vision, is it something, do you think about it all day long? Do you look at your vision board? Like, what are some of the strategies for yourself? Because I know since I was on your show, you talked about kind of how your vision changed a little bit and what you're doing.
I look at my book cover every single day. As I sit in my office today doing this interview, I still have the original book cover on my shelf. So yes, I look at my book cover every single day. But do I look at the vision board? I did for a while, but then I got sick of looking at it. So and I just kind of got sick of looking at it. My vision is to teach people about cerebral palsy. As a matter of fact, I am retiring from my original job, which is preschool education, and I'm making a job pivot, and I'll eventually end up with a degree in journalism, fashion journalism to be exact, because I want to infuse fashion with disabilities.
I love it. I love it. You and I both have something in common, because I have a passion for fashion, and I love using that, in showing women how they can empower themselves. It's like, if you're out there speaking or you're on TV, you got to have that look that makes you look and feel fabulous, so that you can connect with your audience and really be a leader. I think I mentioned this on your show, but I want to share this with everyone here, is that when I applied to go to college, I barely got in, because I really had a hard time studying, learning, reading, processing information. And I remember applying for one of the best fashion design schools in the country. I got rejected. I thought my life was over. And what's really interesting, there's always a synchronicity in life and how things happen. And I look at my life today, and I wouldn't change a thing, that had to happen. And I still wear my fashion. If you're watching me now, I love clothes. I love beauty. I love, helping other women, to feel beautiful, from the inside out, and that just really extends to their business. So that sounds really exciting.
Well, so I hope I can do it. But journalism requires a lot, and I'm not giving up on this dream of mine. I just want to infuse fashion with the disability space, because the problem with having a disability is not only some people can't. Some people can't physically get themselves dressed, so they rely on other people to help them, other people of able-bodied to help them. And a lot of the times that people with disabilities have a hard time finding clothes that fit them. I know with Down syndrome, the reason why they wear baggy clothes is because they can't find all these swimming outfits that fit them.
Wow, yeah, that's really interesting. And I think I remember reading in the news lately that there was a woman with Down syndrome who's like the first fashion designer. I don't know if you know that, but I look at things like that, and I really want to let people know there's no excuse for putting yourself in like the victim mode, because it's really up to you to have a mission and purpose that's greater than you, and help inspire other people, because that's what it's all about. And when you do that, you create transformation in the world. And when I just really appreciate you being here and sharing your story, because I know it is helping other women out there that might be doubting themselves and saying, wow, if Win could do it, so can I. And we're all here to win together, right? And so, Win, can you tell us where we can learn more about your work and your podcast?
Well, you can learn. You can learn more about me via butterfliesofwisdom.com, or just Google my name.
Awesome. And we'll also put that in the show notes. So if you're listening to this on iTunes or over on my site, just go ahead and click on those links. Win, thank you so much for being inspirational and sharing your formula for overcoming obstacles and challenges in your life.
Well, you are welcome. And sorry about the technical difficulties. Geez, I didn't realize my phone was going to ring during the
no
interview.
worries.
That's the price of a podcast. But you guys, I just wanted to say, if you're listening to this in iTunes, please leave a review for Heather's podcast. All the reviews help. Please leave a review for Butterflies of Wisdom in iTunes as well.
Absolutely. And again, thank you so much for being my guest. And before we go, always want to leave a final thought of, really helping the women that are listening out there on how you can really create your own formula for fabulous living. And it's simply, have your inspired vision. Know that you're worthy of doing something extraordinary in life. Know that there's also pain in pursuing something worthy. So you have to be able to endure the pain and pleasure of the pursuit of really, getting to that end in mind, what the Greeks called living by the telos. And that's the most meaningful thing that a person can do in their life. And when you're true to yourself, when you're so authentic, that's how you rise above and you become a leader, and people will want, to do business with you or buy your product or service because you're you. And I really want to instill that in people that are watching or listening this today. So here's to creating your own La Dolce Vita, the formula for fabulous living. Have a fabulous day, everyone, and take care. So if you found this show to be fabulous, please share with your fabulous friends, rate, review, and subscribe on YouTube and iTunes. And I'll make sure I take a beatbox lesson, right? Or give my little chihuahua a bone. That's me. Fabulous.